Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm Dee Dee. We are the hilarious outcome of opposing brains sharing a mutual desire to share knowledge and positive thinking about hemp and cannabis.
We are here to tear down the walls built by Big Pharma and other big companies that seek to keep the human race in fear and divided.
We are here to shatter the myths about hemp and cannabis and change the stigma of this amazing plant. Welcome to Hemp and Happiness with the Hemp Queen
and Emperor
podcast. Join us as we venture into this misunderstood and the unknown. Hey, thanks everybody for joining us today. We've got an awesome guest. Her name is Laura Hardy, also known as regular Laura, but I always like to call her Fabulous Laura. She used to live here in Louisville, and she was one of our favorite radio disc jockeys. Is that what it's called? Radio personalities on 107.7 The Eagle. So we miss her. She moved on to greener pastures, literally, right, Laura? So we're super excited to have you on today. Tell us what have you been up to?
Well, in December, I took a job in Grand Rapids, Michigan at a completely different kind of radio station. I was on 107.7 The Eagle there in Louisville, which is classic rock. Very fun. Loved it. Was very heartbroken to leave, but I've moved up here to Grand Rapids, Michigan to work for a station called Mix 95.7. It's a top 40 station. I'm a part of a big morning show called The Big Joe Show. And I'm having so much fun. I'm loving Michigan as much as I miss my old Kentucky home. I'm missing Derby a little bit this week, not going to lie. Like, watching everybody have fun. I miss the bed races that I usually get to host last night. And just, I'm ready. I miss Kentucky, but I am loving Michigan for one very specific reason, which I think is why you guys brought me on.
One of the reasons we wanted to have you on the show, Miss Laura. So you first off, you have been such a huge fan since I'm a huge fan of you, but ever since we actually met, you actually had COVID, and I sent you a little care package. It's just like, hey, here's some of this hemp product stuff. Try it out. I hope you feel better. You know, it's just kind of one of those things. Because first off, I didn't want you to think I was a stalker or weird or wanting you to endorse our company. But at the same time, I was like, man, you just need to try it. See if it helps you. Just give it a whirl. And then you and I became like instant friends after that. Yes. It was freaking awesome. And we still are, obviously, even though you left us.
I'm sorry.
But no, you know I love you. But the cool thing is you have enjoyed and partaken in the products that we do have here in Kentucky, which is mostly the Delta 8 and some of the dispensary grade Delta 9 products. But you tell me, what's it like living in a legal state?
Yeah, it's crazy. Now, one of the things I have learned about Michigan itself is we're a little weird when it comes to legality. Like, for example, say you wander over to Illinois. Mm-hmm. You know, there's not as many dispensaries. They're generally not near the state line. It's a little difficult to get to. Like, I know that the first rise you can get to in Illinois if you're to go just try some recreational stuff, if you decide you want to cross state lines and do that activity. I know the first rise in Illinois is like an hour into Illinois still. I think they may have opened a newer location since the last time I went, but so it's a huge whole thing. Here in Michigan, there is, and it's because of like laws limiting how many dispensaries can exist in that state. And that's how a lot of states are. Michigan has said, go crazy, open as many as you want. Put them wherever you want, as long as they're not next to schools or businesses that can't have that kind of thing, and just really grow. And because of that, the boom has been insane. In fact, I did a bunch of research because I write articles and stuff up here for my current job. Mm-hmm. In 2018, when marijuana was legalized in Michigan, an ounce would cost you $500.
Shoo.
Last week during 420, I bought an ounce for $60.
Wow.
Yeah. That's how big the population is. It's not because it's cheap, it's not good, whatever. There's such a big boom and so much business. Prices have been lowered. You could buy edibles for $8 a bag here, sometimes less. Individual ones you could buy for $2 and $3 if you just want one 10 milligram quickie. You can buy that for $2 at a lot of the dispensaries here. Pre-rolls somewhere between $8 to $10 generally. I've seen them as low as 6 ounces, as low as 70 to 80, up to much more if you get some higher strain grades. And then like during 420, they were selling vape carts 10 for 100, so $10 each. And it's
Wow.
just crazy. And the cool thing about that is it's not like it's just like weeds everywhere, but the money that Michigan has made off of it alone, like you can say whatever you want about people smoking weed, all the stuff, whatever's going on. The one thing you cannot deny and can't argue with is the fact that the state of Michigan last year made so much money. Each city, for every dispensary they have, they get $53,000. So if
Wow.
your city has 4 dispensaries, each one of those has just netted you $53,000 to use in your community on road repairs, upgrades to any sort of buildings, schools, that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter. That is your tax money to go in your city. So cities like Grand Rapids here are making tons of money off of this, even though the industry itself has made billions. They've made millions off of taxes, and now that they've had so much overages, they're paying that back to the communities. And it's actually the marijuana industry is improving our communities hugely and offering all these opportunities and jobs. There are more marijuana industry employees in the state of Michigan now than there are firefighters at this point.
That is insane and incredible at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
So, why do you think that's not happening here in Kentucky?
I mean, I'm not in a place to get in trouble anymore, so I'll say it out loud. It's called bourbon.
Mm,
In my
thank
personal
you.
opinion, I think that the unfortunateness is that Kentucky has leaned hard on bourbon for a long time. And while it is a great tourist industry, there's a lot of positives to it. People like drinking it. I think that unfortunately, the nature of bourbon doesn't raise as much money, and it is holding other industries like hemp down because they do not want the competition. Now, here in Michigan, the beer companies don't seem to care because I guess they figured that stuff goes hand in hand. Hops and
Mhm.
other sorts of grains. I guess they don't mind as much. I don't know what the deal is, but here in Michigan, they don't have that big lobby fighting against them, and some of the unfortunately the legislators here have been much more apt to it, unlike Kentucky, who it seems like they're just spinning their wheels to stop something that the entire state desperately wants. And so when Michigan put it on the ballot and voted it through, that's what stopped it. But I know I've been watching the headlines in Kentucky, and you guys are kind of in a stalemate right now because some people want to decide for everyone else when that's not what they were voted in to do. So
Right.
it's a very unfortunate thing you guys are going through, and it sucks to watch the difference between watching people and everybody thinks, oh, there's gonna be weed everywhere, people are gonna drive crazy. I see less accidents here. I see less people being drunk in the streets here. You don't see that anymore. Like, we don't have raging alcoholic, drunk people wandering the streets of Grand Rapids nearly like I saw in Louisville. And there's all sorts of pluses to it, and outside of just all the money it makes. Like, you can't argue the tax revenue alone is worth doing it because you're just giving that money to other states. Every time someone crosses the state line, goes to Illinois, you go to whatever, Ohio, Missouri, there's other states that have at least medical, if not recreational. If you're going there, we're losing tax money every time someone crosses the state line and
In
buys
Kentucky.
marijuana in a different state than Kentucky.
Yeah, agreed. What do you think about that, Matt?
Well, first of all, my apologies for those who see me walking the streets drunk. It's just something that I like to do.
No shame.
I try to keep it as clean as I can. Underwear on the inside of the pants, but there's no guarantee.
Oh, man.
Sometimes it's a
So,
rough night.
yes. I've had a few. So,
College, maybe,
with that
but-
being said, as always, I agree with you, Laura. I mean, we've sat in the back office of our shop and had this very conversation, and there's a lot more fucks and shits involved usually when it's just the two of us. But
Try to keep it borderline professional for the
hey,
nice folks out
you
there.
you do you. You fucking do you.
Are you, please tell me you're going by the name of Fabulous Laura instead.
I'm just Laura Hardy up here. I
Just
wasn't
Laura? Oh, good.
because there's a
Okay.
Big Joe. I feel like being regular Laura felt weird or anything Laura felt weird. So I was like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to drop the adjective. We're going to just be Laura here, which
Yay.
it works well. And, you know,
Good.
it's been great. I really love this city. I love everything going, and it's great. I love it. The 420 here was the wildest thing ever because, you know, you hear about everything, like not only are the marijuana prices low, my friends and I made a game out of trying to find how much free stuff we could get. And I'm not talking about swag. Like, there was
Yeah.
a company called Sensi. They're a magazine that's cannabis based. They're nationwide, but they were really focusing on Michigan this year. If you went and bought like a small amount of stuff at certain stores, you got $300 worth of free marijuana products.
Wow.
Pre-rolls, gummies. I got a vape. I got a tincture. I got pills. I got sugar, like THC sugar that you can put in your coffee. Amazing.
Dude.
Highly recommend.
Dude.
And all sorts of this crazy stuff. And it's like that stuff you couldn't do in a lot of places because of the fact that it's free. But it's if you go to if I were to go down the street and go to the cereal store, I don't know if there's a cereal store. I have a box of cereal in front of me. That's what I'm thinking of. If I go to the cereal store to buy a bunch of cereal, they give me something free, no big deal. But in a lot of places, you wouldn't be able to get that free product after buying the first thing. And Michigan said, nah, have all you want. So I probably got, for $150 I spent that day, I probably got $500 worth of marijuana at retail.
Road trip next year, Matt.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't know how many times I've dug into the bottom of a cereal box looking for a marijuana treat, and it's never there.
That's usually after the
shitty piece of plastic. That's all it is.
After you have a lot of marijuana, it's the munchies you get. So you eat that whole damn box of cereal.
It's the box of cereal at that point.
Right. That's right. Oh man, too funny. I've just kind of wondered how your take has been on that. I know the reason you partake in cannabis is because you are no longer drinking alcohol, right? You've been sober from alcohol for how long now?
2 years.
2 years.
I stopped at the beginning of the pandemic because it just my drinking habits weren't healthy or good for me, and not that I drank a lot, but when I did drink, I was bad at it. Yeah. So I just decided that wasn't really a thing I should do for the 2 week, what I thought was a 2 week lockdown that turned into years. It felt like so I quit drinking, and I've always kind of used marijuana in some sort for my anxiety because I'm diagnosed with panic disorder and generalized anxiety. So I tend to be a very nervous person. So if I could take something to allow myself to come from here to here, it makes a world of difference in how I function. You know, it's not always just going around being as stoned as humanly possible type of existence. Right. Sometimes for me, I used to take melatonin to go to sleep. And then I'd wake up in the morning, and with my early morning schedule with morning radio, you get up 4 a.m. I can't have that melatonin feels like you're breaking through cellophane feeling that you get when you don't get enough sleep. So it started with when I would come to you and I would get the dispensary grade gummies. Those helped me get such good sleep. And now I've just carried that on into the same dispensary grade gummies. I just buy them in Michigan instead of them being
that are actually marijuana instead of gummies.
Yeah. And so it's like the ones I got, I was so thankful for Delta 8 and all of its existence in the state of Kentucky. And I'm so thankful that we were able to keep that.
Yes.
Thank you for your fight for that. Because when I was in Texas last week, I did use Delta 8 products while I was there because of the fact that they're not a legal state. And it's, you know, and the Delta 8 stuff is great. Like, it's not a knock on that. It's not that it's not, you know, but it's nice to be able to walk into a store, ask some questions, get what you need, and not have to worry about being a criminal. Like, when I leave there, I have my edibles in my car, and if the cop pulls me over, I bought something at a store legally. I have a receipt. I have a bag. I am not a criminal. And I never thought I was a criminal the times I would use marijuana before in a not legal state. It's just now my state recognizes that I'm doing something for what I need to do for me, and I'm not a criminal for doing it. And we're not wasting tax money on chasing down people for stupid things that when we have real problems.
Right.
Know?
Yep.
There's so many real drugs out there in the sense of like things that are actually damaging lives and breaking up homes.
Including
hemp is not the one. It's let's go after our let's try to help people who are struggling with meth and heroin and pills and opioids and all this other stuff. Let's help them get their lives back on the rails and stop bullying people who are using a plant medicinally and literally not harming a single person.
Yeah.
You're not causing
Amen,
any problems.
sister.
Well said.
Uh-huh.
They're helping Taco Bell continue to make money. Leave them alone.
Yeah. On that subject, have you ridden a snow? What do they call those? The
Snowmobile?
snowmobiles? Yeah, yeah.
Not yet, but I did see one driving one next to the road one day, like a month or two ago, and I was like, "What? People do that for real?" But no, the roads here are like, so like if you're ever like, maybe I would move to Michigan, but the snow is terrible. I've never seen a more efficient snow removal system in my life. Like the second the snow hits the ground, it is off the pavement here. Like it snows, it's cold, it's on the sidewalks, it sucks. But I think I drive safer and better here than I ever did with a single dusting in Kentucky.
That's
So
awesome.
it's
That's
mind
awesome.
blowing. My boyfriend was just like, "Why are you so impressed by this?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's so cool." So, it's that kind of stuff. But I miss Kentucky desperately. If Kentucky could get it together and figure it out, I would try to come back in a heartbeat because I do not like the cold winters. I miss my family. I miss my friends. But at this point in life, between a great or a great career opportunity for me, because I am working for an amazing radio company that I absolutely love, and I'm very thankful for this opportunity. But also, just legal weed was a big thing that made me go, it's time to
I
take the leap
figured.
and leave home.
Can't say I blame you. I mean, I get it. We get it.
Yeah.
We totally get it.
You guys were the ones I was the most brokenhearted to break it to. My boss's was like, "Bye." You guys, I was like, "I'm sorry.
I know.
Miss you."
I remember when you told me,
you.
I was like, "Are you really gonna leave us? You're really leaving us?" But I can't. I mean, we can't blame you, girl. Mm-mm.
No, and now you have a place to come visit when you want to come see what it's about. When you want to visit and procure wares or try them, and then head home after that.
Heck yeah. So. As long as you drive safely and don't get pulled over,
Yeah,
in late July.
Yeah, in late July.
In those 2 week in that 2 week session where it's above.
Listen, it's gonna be warm in like a week from now. They say.
Okay. They say.
I don't believe them yet, but we'll see.
We're in the 70s. We're in the 70s right now, Laura.
50 right now and rainy.
Okay.
Going to Texas was culture shock for me because it was nice, and then I came back and I was like, "Oh yeah, I live in Michigan. I don't get to come back to warm weather again." Right? Darn. And they said this has actually been the coldest winter they've ever had in a while. So I'm like, "Oh, of course, the winter I move up here is your worst one in years." Thank you. That's great. Of course. Thanks.
But you seem so happy. You seem so
genuinely
you really
enjoying
do.
life. Yeah,
good.
It's been great, and the industry up here, the legal industry is great. It's nice to do something different and change. But it's like I'm thinking of y'all as you go through this fight and navigate all of this, and I'm hoping that maybe we can see some sense because it's the majority of Kentuckians want it. It would be an amazing cash crop for the state because it's like it grows naturally. Like it is our plant. It was meant to be in Kentucky, and in all honesty, between the opioids and the alcohol abuse problems that the state has, and I was affected. My mom was a raging alcoholic, drank herself to death, died of liver failure, that kind of stuff. I wish that she had the opportunity to use hemp or marijuana products instead of alcohol, and maybe she would still be here with me today. And so that's always the thing I think of is I wish more people could walk away. Not that you can't enjoy alcohol and it not be negative. Not that you can't enjoy certain things and it not be negative. But I wish people had better options when they need some sort of, relaxation or relief that don't turn into a long abuse or addiction or something bad down the line,
Right. Agreed. So sorry you lost your mom to that too.
Yeah.
Because that's tough.
Yeah, and I think that's what made me be an advocate and not want to deal with alcohol. Like I loved drinking bourbon. I loved doing mid juleps and derby, whatever. But, after experiencing and seeing what I've seen over my lifetime, it's like, how can I be really excited about alcohol over time when I've watched people I care about succumb to its possible capabilities? Not that that's going to happen. Most people drink perfectly healthily and safe and fine. But it's like, I don't know of anybody that's marijuana themselves to death. Can't name a single person,
Right.
So it's like, why are we treating this like it's worse than the thing that you have at the gas station?
Very well said. Very well said. Exactly.
You can buy it at Walmart. Why is it worse? It's silly.
I look forward to the day when you can buy a Walmart brand pre-roll.
Oh man, you know what? Honestly, I hate the idea of it, but I'll take it at this point if that's what it takes to get us there. You
Actually,
know?
fuck it. I'm going to Costco because I want to buy that
I
shit
was
in
gonna
bulk.
say, go to
I was gonna say, you're gonna buy like
Costco.
a
At least they'll
55
have
pre-roll
organic,
pack for $20 or some shit. And it's just gonna be great.
non-GMO weed, man. Non-GMO weed.
Well, and
That's the plan.
the big change here too is that like obviously we have marijuana people on the air advertising that kind of stuff, which is a little weird to hear when you're not
Oh, I
used to it.
bet.
But one of the very second week I came here, my big boss, like the guy that's in charge of everybody in this building, walked in and was like, "Do you smoke weed?" And I remember pausing for a second and being like, "This is a trap. If I answer this, I'm going to get in trouble." And then remembering, no, I'm not. This is just like him asking if I want to go for a beer after work. Like nothing here. There's nothing here saying I can't say yes. And I remember saying yes and feeling the relief of I don't have to hide part of my personality because of something arbitrary and stupid. Like I could be like, yeah, I consume marijuana here and there because it makes me less anxious and I'm happy to have that in my life. And he didn't judge me or think less of me. He's like, okay, cool, you take it. So we can maybe, if those clients come up, we can put you in front of those clients, that kind of thing. So it was kind of one of those situations where it's like, that's awesome. The culture shock difference of how it's not just about being able to go in stores. It changes how your everyday life is. I don't have to hide a shell of my person because I'm a bad person because I do something that's questionably legal. I'm doing a fully legal thing that brings me relief and makes me happy and makes me a more productive employee.
Man, speaking of that, with the radio stuff, in the very, very beginning, Laura, I had to fight to have a radio ad. So they were very hesitant to even put hemp on the radio here in Kentucky. So that was, back in 2018, my first one. I mean, we had to kind of shop around and luckily it was your station. And you were the head people there. We started with 103.1 first, but there was a few places where like, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Same thing for commercials.
When you guys came on to Q, I remember it being really, all of us in the building were like, wait, you can sell that on the radio? Like all of us were a little shell-shocked. We were like, yeah, we'll take the money. We're happy to advertise things like how radio is. We'll happily get your message out there as long as we're allowed to. We don't judge, but it was just mind-blowing at that moment. And I had that same moment just a few weeks ago when my radio station isn't generally the big hemp one, obviously, because we're a top 40 mom station. But we had a 420 ad air, and it was like, come get your 420 stuff, buy weed. I'm just like, is this allowed to be said on the radio? And I was like, oh, yeah. You can. It's just like saying, go buy beer, go get your wine before the party. Like it is no different. And the mentality over time, I think people were a little hesitant to start from what I've been told. But like we did a phone conversation. A mom wrote in and said that she has her kids outside playing during the day and her next door neighbors sometimes will smoke marijuana outside. And she was wondering if she should ask them not to do it when the kids were outside. And we thought the audience would be pretty divided, that people would say, yeah, you can ask them, or no, leave them alone. There wasn't a single person that called in that morning that didn't say, leave those nice people alone. They could smoke whatever they want.
Oh, wow.
Like, that was the full consensus of everyone. And I was just like, it is amazing how quick the attitude changes once people are educated and understand, like, it's no big deal.
Yep.
And I can't wait for, like, dear God, hopefully less than 10 years from now when I'm seeing the same thing happen in my home state and watching people... I know I'm rooting for you guys, whether it comes national first or whether Kentucky finally figures it out, because I know there's some good-hearted, good people there in charge, at least in some spots. And I'm hoping they can prevail over the idiots who are just making everyone's life harder and losing money hand over fist for the state who desperately needs it.
Agreed. Agreed. We'll see. Man, Laura, thank you so much for joining us. And we miss you. And yes, I feel a road trip coming on to Michigan. I think that'd be a lot of fun. In July, August, when it's hot.
In town, I will come see you. And I will not bring you things, obviously, because that would not be allowed. So
when you find your car keys,
then I'm allowed to come back to Kentucky.
Then come visit.
Yeah, you're so awesome. We miss you, and we're so glad you're doing well up there and enjoying a legal state, unlike Kentucky here. So hopefully, people can learn that it's not a bad thing. Cannabis is good.
Yeah, and if you ever want to ask me questions about living in a legal state, Laura Hardy Radio is my handle on everything. Send me a message. I'd be happy to talk to you about it. And if you want to really experience it for yourself, I highly recommend this summer, take a trip up here to Michigan. Get yourself an Airbnb. Come check out Grand Rapids and our stuff. Heck, you can go if you go to South Bend and head right across the state line right there in Kalamazoo, they've got a really neat place that is 24/7 dispensary. You can go at any time of the day, night, doesn't matter. They're always open.
Dude.
Every holiday, everything.
Yeah. Wow. That is freaking incredible.
Is it next to a Waffle House?
Waffle House.
It basically is.
That's awesome.
It's a cute town. I like it there a lot. It's near the ocean, so not the ocean, the lake, but it feels like an ocean.
It's the ocean up there. Yeah.
It might as well be. You can't tell the difference between the Gulf of Mexico and Lake Michigan. Really cannot.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, I question that.
Well, the coldness this time of year, yes. But in the summer, you cannot tell the difference.
Very cool, Laura. Thank you so much for joining us. It was so good to see your face, and hopefully we will see you soon for sure. Thank you so much. And hey, everybody that was listening to us, definitely leave a message. Send us your thoughts. Share our podcast, and hopefully, maybe we can keep changing people's minds and breaking those stigmas about cannabis and how much it helps people maybe stop the opiate addiction crisis, epidemic, whatever you want to call it. Let's focus on things that actually help people, and let's get some stuff legalized here in Kentucky. And for now, though, let's keep it hempy out there.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Hempin' Happiness with the Hemp Queen
and Emperor.
Keep your mind ever open and expanding. Like, subscribe, review, follow us, all the good stuff. And
keep it hempy out there.